agendas.
Yep, double tap. Patience is not my virtue.
Mine neither. It wasn't a very good double click either. Should I start over?
I think, yeah, double click again. There we go. Agenda. 2017. Scroll down. This one. That should be you. And then go ahead and make it big.
Oops.
No, you're,
You want to go to slideshow?
yeah, isn't it? One of
Maybe we
those.
want to do that. We want to go to slideshow.
Is it there?
Yeah.
That was one of those down there. There you go. Then you can just click.
Either one.
Yeah.
It's okay, we weren't quite ready yet. All right, good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. If you'd please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. And Danny, would you please call roll?
Deputy Mayor Wales.
Here.
Councilmember Baggett. Here. Councilmember DeCoursey. Here. Councilmember Holman.
Here.
Councilmember Pelosa.
Here.
Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
Here.
Councilmember Wagner.
Here.
Thank you. Tonight we have a proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month. So, Daryl, if you'd join me over at the podium. All right. So we have a proclamation tonight for Parks and Recreation Month. And it reads, whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Auburn, and whereas our parks and recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. Now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, do proclaim July as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Auburn and encourage all residents to get out and enjoy our parks and recreation programs. Dated this 3rd day of July, 2017. Daryl, I'm going to give this to you. Say thank you for what you and your team do, and I believe you have a presentation that you would like to share.
Well, just real quickly, thank you. And it's a great city of parks, arts, and recreation. So being part of the National Coalition for this month is really exciting. One thing that we do have going on our Facebook page, I'm just going to show you the 3 or 4 slides that began on Saturday, July 1st, is every day we're focusing on another site in Auburn, and people who figure out 10 of the 31 are going to be eligible for a bundle of fun prizes. So hopefully Bill Pelosa knows where that is. And if you click on your Facebook page a second time, it'll show where it is. So that was at the Farmers Market, one of our public art pieces. On the second, this little piece of playground equipment, people would know that's at Dorothy Bothell Park. And on the third, sometimes you have to look behind it. That's an easy one. That's the Rotary Spray Park at Les Gulf Park. So we're doing that all 31 days. I put it in front of you at your desk there. So hopefully that gets people to recognize the great plethora of activities we have in and around Auburn. Some are super easy, like 14 and 15. When it actually says the I Have sign or Auburn Golf Course, that kind of gives it away. But we're really excited about what we have going on this month. And tomorrow is another exciting day of on our events world. So thanks for supporting our department and understanding the value of what we do in the community.
Thank you, Daryl. So if you would please go forward, take your proclamation with you, Daryl, and accept the appreciation of council for the work that you and your dedicated team do to provide a great quality of life in the city of Auburn.
I got the 14.
I thought you would. I got 26. Lungs of the city. There you go. I like that.
All right, and we do have another presentation tonight. I've asked Assistant Chief Bill Pearson to provide us with an update on fireworks and the enforcement for now through the evening of the 4th of July. So, Bill?
All right, well, it's another 4th of July has come upon the city of Auburn. And as you can imagine, in the last month or so, your police department has been preparing for a little bit tonight, but more importantly, tomorrow. We call the 4th of July at the police department the Operational Need Day. So no officer is allowed to be off that day. So instead of being with their families at barbecues like some of us may be, they are here working and making sure that we keep it safe for the 4th of July. Just real briefly, all of our shifts will be staffed to full capacity. So each shift will have roughly 8 officers, and we'll continue to change that as the shifts change. We have 16 police officers that will be doing nothing but handling fireworks calls. And they are going to be contained in 8 cars, which are going to be 2-person cars. And so instead of them having to call for any type of assistance or backup, they can go out as a solo vehicle and address all of the complaints that we have. The big time is typically between 10 at night and 2 in the morning. That's when it really starts to get heated up a little bit. But we're going to start about 4 in the afternoon just to start taking those calls. Now, with that, we're also going to have 6 officers up at the Muckleshoot property assisting their security team as well as their fireworks commission on safety. We're going to make sure that their discharge area is run safely, that people get to enjoy themselves up on the reservation, but we make sure that we try to minimize the injuries as best possible. And what we really need to do also, and what we really strive to do, is when we work with the Fireworks Commission up there, that we're allowed to actually shut the area down at their request, so we can assist them when they finally make that request to shut the area down, move the people out. Fireworks are closed, and then we start to wind the night down. So with that said, if there's any questions.
Councilmember Pelosi, I believe, and then Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Bill, so how late do they sell on tomorrow? And when do you anticipate them shutting down? I know upon their request, but what's been the average?
Well, each year over the last 3 or 4 years, it's actually gotten sooner and sooner as the night goes on. Last night, we actually shut down the discharge area at their request by about 10:30. So it actually quieted down up there pretty fast. They will continue to sell fireworks until they sell out, which goes pretty quick. However, as per their ordinance, they've agreed that at 2 in the morning, if they for some reason are still going, they are willing or agreed to shut down the discharge area at 2 a.m. So selling fireworks is more of a quiet activity, where the discharge area tends to keep people up at night. So they're dedicated to 2 in the morning. They'll ask us to shut it down. So, yep.
I have the same question.
Okay.
Your microphone, Yolanda.
I also wanted to know, with people that are carrying out boxes and boxes full of fireworks, are you allowed to stop them, or they still continue to take them off the ground?
Well, if you purchase fireworks on the reservation and you put them in your vehicle, we are not up there actively monitoring what people are purchasing out of the stands and then following them off the reservation. We're not involved in that activity. But if you leave the reservation and for some odd reason you come into contact with law enforcement here in the city, And we are able to immediately identify those items as being illegal fireworks. That's the key. And we have the right to be where we are. You may get a citation and have your fireworks confiscated.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Assistant Chief Pearson? Thank you, Bill.
All
And
right,
I
thanks.
will say that working with the Muckleshoot tribe over the years, they have changed their ordinance to where it is more compliant with our noise ordinance. Doesn't mean everybody follows it, but just like any ordinance we have, it doesn't mean everyone follows it. But they have worked very graciously with us to change those hours of discharge, and we do appreciate their work with us on that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Danny, do we have any agenda modifications this evening?
Yes, Your Honor. Council should have received revised documents for ordinance number 6656 and for Public Works projects CP 1614 and 1701.
Okay, thank you. Everyone has those? Yes. Okay. All right, we will move on. We have no public hearings this evening, so we'll move on to audience participation. This is the place on the agenda where the public is invited to speak to the City Council on any issue. Those wishing to speak are reminded to sign in on the form provided, and please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Please come forward, give your name and address for the record.
Good evening. It's Philip Doughty, 1608 East Republican in Seattle. I represent KF Industries, who's the 4th cannabis retailer that's been licensed in the city of Auburn by the Liquor Board, but they haven't been able to open because of the ongoing moratorium, which they've been in complete compliance with. There's a bit of a disconnect in my mind and in the minds of others who went through the Planning Commission process the last few months on what staff briefed you on last week, as that's what Planning Commission voted on. We heard something different. What we heard is Planning Commission did not vote to recommend increasing the school, parks, playgrounds, libraries buffers to a half mile. What they did vote on increasing the distance on were dispersion between stores to a half mile, and there's quite a bit of difference between those two things. I worked with the legislature on the buffers, and they want them at 1,000 feet or even a little bit lower, which federal law does allow you to do. We simply need some time to review the record of what Planning Commission actually voted on, and so we can get some clarity on what they actually recommended. I'm in no way casting aspersions at Mr. Tate or anything like that. I understand these words go around and they can overlap. I just got this when I walked in the door here, so I haven't even had a chance to listen to it. So I'm respectfully asking you guys to table the vote on that ordinance for a couple of weeks. It's only an ordinance that impacts us. I think you can take care of it before the moratorium lifts in early August, and everything should work out there. The one thing I wanted to stress is we do have hundreds of petitions from neighbors who do want the store there. I gave over 100 to Planning Commission to put into the record back in June, and there's about 400 more in a car that is trying to get here through very bad traffic tonight. There's apparently been a lot of accidents out on the freeway tonight, and I unfortunately drove by the aftermath of a fatal motorcycle accident up in Seattle. And yeah, I saw the body on the side of the road, and I'm not feeling very normal right now. So that's all we're asking for tonight, is just can we push the pause button for a couple of weeks and just clarify what it was Planning Commission actually did or did not recommend on buffers and dispersion. Thank you.
Thank you.
And somebody left their reading glasses up here.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please come forward, give your name and address for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Yes, I'm David Osgood. I'm the attorney for KF Investment, and I am speaking to request that Ordinance 6642 be tabled as well. And I'm going to borrow these reading glasses. I don't know whose they are, but
There are Parks Department.
they work.
direct-
There we go. As you know, there are 4 licenses that have been granted by the Liquor Board for the City of Auburn. 2 were issued pursuant to Initiative 502, statewide voter initiative. 2 more were issued pursuant to Senate Bill 5052, which is state action saying we need to close down unregulated medical marijuana storefronts, which have basically exploded in Washington state over the past 5 to 10 years. We need to regulate them, we need to tax them, we need to issue medical marijuana endorsements and put them in the retail scheme that's governed by the Liquor and Cannabis Board. We are one of the two 502 that were added on to the city of Auburn. At the time 502 passed, one retail storefront, Stash, got in before there was any land use ordinance, any moratorium, any ban whatsoever. They're in. They're grandfathered. They're not subject to land use ordinance. None of the rules will apply to them. The second one, Evergreen Market, came in at the time of the city's moratorium. The city lifted the moratorium for Evergreen Market, saying the moratorium does not apply to retail storefronts that were licensed by the state to be here. So Evergreen got in, and we have two here. The third one just opened, and that is Green Solution. And basically they said, we're going to open, sue us. The city sued them. They got a court order saying you have not established the use. The judge said, we're going to I'm shutting you down. This is an order shutting you down. Evergreen Solution countersued, settled with the city for $53,000 in attorney's fees and a council resolution allowing them to remove themselves from their current location, open somewhere else despite the ban, and establish the land use. So we now have 3 businesses in the city of Auburn that will not be subject to Ordinance 6642. My guys have been quiet. We've been waiting our time. We've had faith in the process. We were very surprised to see the Planning Commission propose only 3 licenses when we've been waiting a year and a half, incurring expenses. And we are very surprised to find that we are the only one that will be subject to this ordinance. Liquor Board is not contemplating more licenses. This will apply to one person, one business. That puts us at a disadvantage. This half-mile buffer makes it literally impossible to open in the city of Auburn. And we find it very difficult to constitutionally and legally mesh our situation with the fact that the other 3 have been allowed to operate despite the ban, despite the moratoria, despite willful defiance in the face of the mayor and the city council. If we're the only ones subject to this, if we're not
Sir,
going to...
I am going to need you to wrap it up.
Okay.
That was started late.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I counted 3 minutes, and that's been up for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
So if I could get you to wrap it up, please.
Okay. We want to work with the city. However, if the price of ever using our license in the city of Auburn is litigation, we're prepared to litigate. But make no mistake, what you are contemplating tonight is meant to apply to one and only one establishment, ours. That kind of law is constitutionally repugnant, it is illegal, and it's going to be futile. I am urging you to table this ordinance for good, for the sake of this establishment, and if the Liquor Board ever says more in Auburn, take it up then. And thank you. Where's our parking director?
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Please come forward, give your name and address for the record, and Danny, if you could start the 3-minute clock, please.
My name is James Sloop, consultant for KF Industry. I live in 2635 Southwest 335th in Federal Way. So I'm up here to speak in front of you guys. I watched the whole city planning commissioner. We went to every single meeting, and it seemed like the first maybe 2, 3, they seemed to neglect that we had a 4th store. So I really feel like maybe there wasn't enough time, except the last meeting we had, we finally said, hey, we're here, acknowledge us. So I'm here, I'm hoping that maybe you guys can take a look at what we're doing at that store, where we're at. Right now, currently, I guess the way it's set up, we are legal to be there, but with the new proposed ordinance, it shows that the downtown urban development were completely canceled out. So, we keep getting different messages. We'll try to go for a special use permit, but that doesn't guarantee us anything. And so we want to try to have you guys really look into giving us the opportunity to maybe look at a special use permit if that's what we need to open. And we're willing to comply, do whatever we have to do to open. What I've noticed too in Auburn, there's 3 stores. 2 have been open. 1 was allowed to move. We got approved with the liquor board, LCB, probably within 2-3 weeks of Green Solution, and their motion was to come and litigate. We sat back and waited. I think maybe consider that we play fair. We want to do an outreach program, do awareness for the neighborhood, awareness for the city. I know it works really well in Bonnie Lake, and if someone has questions or concerns, we can put on these classes or seminars. That's something that we would be willing to do. So I would definitely consider us as a 4th store. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay. Please come forward, give your name and address for the record. And again, comments limited to 3 minutes, please.
Hi, my name's Kirk Edwards. I'm the managing partner of KF Industries. I would first like to submit, for the record, 400 more signatures. At one meeting, I believe the last meeting in the City Council, we submitted 100. We have 300 more here, 300 plus of residents around our location at 404 Auburn Way South that have indicated that they would like our store to open at that location. So,
Please give it to our city clerk. Thank you.
I'd like to start off by wishing all a happy 4th of July and a safe one, hopefully. Going back almost a year plus now, we'd been asked by several people in the city of Auburn to sit back, to not take the course of action that Green Solutions took, and everything would be fine. You'd work with us. Well, we're here a year plus later. We've sat back, we've been quiet, we've tried to go through the right procedures and play ball with the city. Hopefully that will pay off, hopefully. As you know, and it's been said here already, obviously a couple of the candidates that got licenses chose a different path. And we hope that we don't have to do that. We'd like to be good partners, have a good working relationship with the city. We're willing to do, as James said, outreach programs to educate the public. We're willing to give our expertise as consultants to the council on issues of marijuana. I think we have the background to do that. All in all, we're here to cooperate with you. However, that being said, we figure the value of our license at about $1 million as it stands today. We are committed to spend that much money in legal fees to get it approved. We have unlimited resources to do that. And we don't want to have to go that way. We're not looking to go that way. So hopefully we can all arrive at an equitable solution. Our primary purpose today is to make 3 requests. One, that we be given a path to get a license. A path in the sense that you either approve our location. I think 400 people, that's about 8 times the number of people who responded to the Planning Commission's survey, have indicated they would like us to be in the location we're in at 404 Auburn Way South.
Sir, I need you to wrap up. Your
or that you give us a conditional use permit for our location, or a path to get through the Planning Commission to get our license. Again, we're here not to create a problem. We're here to try and just open a business and be good citizens and work with the city. So thank you. I hope that you make the right decision.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak tonight? Final time, is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right, we will close audience participation. Danny, do we have any correspondence this evening? All right, we will move to Council Ad Hoc Committee reports. Council Ad Hoc Committee chairs may report on the status of their Ad Hoc Council Committee's progress on assigned tasks and may give their recommendation to the City Council, if any. And we will begin with the Finance Committee, Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. As members of the Council Ad Hoc Finance Committee, Councilmember Wagner and I reviewed the payroll vouchers and electronic deposits for approximately $2.3 million, and claims vouchers and wire transfers for approximately $1.8 million for the period June 15th to June 28th and July 3rd, respectively. And the committee recommends council approval of these expenses.
Thank you. And the annual selection of Deputy Mayor, Councilmember DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. The committee, council members Trout Manuel and Pelosi, myself, will meet again next Monday, and we will be presenting a revised version of our recommendations to the council at the study session next Monday.
Okay, thank you. $20 tab fee, full spectrum of issues regarding the $20 car tab fee. Deputy Mayor Wells.
Thank you, Your Honor. We had our meeting this evening and we're narrowing the topics and the areas of study. We're going to meet again on August 7th at 6 o'clock in this room, and you're all invited. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Do I have a motion? Deputy Mayor Wells.
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Holman.
Second.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Wales.
Thank you. For our approval this evening are the minutes of the June 19th, 2017 regular council meeting, minutes from the January 11th, 2016, wow, that seems a long time ago, City Council study session. The claims vouchers and payroll vouchers that Councilmember Baggett spoke to. And then we have 4 public works projects that were discussed extensively at our study session last week, and all the questions were answered.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Councilmember Pelosi.
Thank you, Mayor. Regarding Public Works Project number CP 1701, that's the signage on Auburn Way South dynamic message sign. Mm-hmm. Is that going to be used for providing events? Is that the purpose of it?
Yes, so events and road construction, this is a permanent sign as opposed to the mobile signs that we have been utilizing. The sign has already been purchased. I believe this is for the installation of that sign.
Thank you.
Did you have any other questions?
Yes.
All right.
Item H is in Henry. Public Works Project CP 1606. In the, is this, I'm looking at the, it seems like inside the records, the contract number says 17-14.
What are you looking at, Councilmember?
H, item H.
Right. Are you reading from a specific page?
Yeah,
Or are you
I
just
am.
reading the?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Well, on our agenda, it says contract number 1704. Is that a Scribner's error?
Ingrid?
So there's a typo in the heading of the final pay estimate form itself. It is 1704, not 14.
Okay, I figured that was it, but I wanted to make sure our records were correct.
Yeah, we'll get that corrected.
Okay. Also, Mayor, in the body of the, it shows the different item numbers, items 1 through 065.
What are you referring to, Councilmember?
Oh, I'm sorry, page 35 of 140, 35 and 36. It appears that, like, if you look at item 14, item 16, 17, and item 30, some of those have really gone beyond the original estimate. So I was just wondering why.
So this is a unit price contract, and so while we do our best to estimate the total quantities, we pay actual quantities for those items. And so in order to get the grading work done correctly at the site for both the H Street extension as well as the parking lot, it took a little bit more quantity than what we originally anticipated. It's still within the overall authorized contingency for the project.
So does staff monitor those
Yes, we
pretty
do.
close? Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Passes. We have no unfinished business, no new business. We will move on to ordinances. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ordinance number 6642, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, amending sections 5.20.250, 18.07.020, 18.09.020, 18.21.010, 18.21.020, 18.21.030, 18.23.030, 18.29.050, 18.36.030, 18.42.020, 18.78.020, 18.04.120 of the City Code, and creating new sections 18.04.1001, 18.04.1003, 18.04.1005, 18.04.1007, 18.04.1009, 18.04.1011, 18.04.1013, 18.04.1015, 18.04.1017, 18.04.1019, 18.04.1021, 18.04.1023, 18.04.1025, 18.04.1025, 27, and 18.04.1029, and 18.78.046, and a new chapter 18.49 of the Auburn City Code relating to the marijuana businesses and repealing the moratorium established by ordinance number 6613.
Thank you. Just a couple of little notices here. It's 18.76.046 and a new chapter 18.59. Right. Okay. Do we have a motion? Deputy Mayor Wells.
I move for the approval of ordinance number 6642.
Thank you. I have a second. Councilmember Holman.
Second.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Wells.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, as I read the report that was shared with us at the study session, I thought we allowed for 4 marijuana retailers in Auburn. And then my second question, if it's okay, Your Honor.
Yes, and we have Jeff Tate to do a presentation after.
Oh, would you want to
ahead.
just do the presentation?
No, go ahead and make
Okay.
your second comment.
Okay, and I know that we set up some zones and areas where we could have marijuana retail. And is this proposed location at 404 Auburn Way South, is it in one of the prescribed areas where we're going to allow retail? Those are my two questions.
Okay, for the record, Jeff Tate, Assistant Director of Community Development. So to answer the first question, the Planning Commission's recommendation does include a recommendation to City Council to allow for retail activities. To answer the second question, there are 3 zoning designations, the C3 zone, the M1 zone, and the M2 zone, in which marijuana-related activities would be allowed. The subject property is in the downtown urban center zone. It's listed as a prohibited use in the downtown urban center zone.
Jeff, did you have anything else that you wanted to say about the ordinance this evening, or the process?
The only thing that I would add is that just for the record, and it's a little redundant from the last week and last presentation, but for any new viewers, we did go through a planning commission process where we had 3 separate planning commission meetings where staff and the planning commission were having a discussion about marijuana-related businesses. That discussion started by the city staff presenting a draft ordinance back in February. And the Planning Commission had a number of questions as they evaluated the ordinance. The Planning Commission recommendation is different than the staff recommendation, so they did ultimately deliberate and vote to modify the staff recommendation. So in terms of record, there were Planning Commission meetings, 3 Planning Commission meetings that were held. Each meeting was held with the purpose of coming back to the Planning Commission, answering some of their questions and providing some additional information. And then the 4th meeting was a public hearing, which was held on June 6th. And that's when Planning Commission took public testimony. That's when Planning Commission deliberated and voted on its recommendations. There were a few policy call-outs, I think, that are fair to say from a staff perspective. The whole ordinance is substantive. The whole ordinance is policy. But there were a few areas that we did want to call out to make sure that folks were aware of some of the bigger picture type questions that were being posed. One of those is the number of retail licenses that would be allowed within the city. Another one that I mentioned last week and in the staff memo was how we treat existing uses and making sure that they're not labeled legal non-conforming, because that carries with it some baggage with respect to insurance and lending and those types of things. A third one was the list of uses that all marijuana businesses would have to be separated from. There's a list that is in the Washington Administrative Code that says marijuana-related businesses need to be 1,000 feet away from a list of other types of uses like schools and playgrounds. So one of the policy items that was before Planning Commission is before Council is expanding that list to include a few more types of uses. And also, back when we staff provided the original draft ordinance, we included 3 options that we were presenting a Planning Commission for what the separation distances should be. So they were shown in all 4 iterations of the draft ordinance that went to Planning Commission. They were shown as option 1, option 2, and option 3 embedded within the draft regulations for Planning Commission to be able to look at those options and see what is the difference between a 1 mile separation, a half mile, a quarter mile, 1,000 feet. So option 1 included a 1 mile separation. Option 2 included some uses, marijuana-related businesses had to be a half mile away from, some uses a quarter mile away. And then option 3, same concept, but it changed those distances to a quarter mile and 1,000 feet. So that was one of the choices that we put before the Planning Commission. We provided the Planning Commission with maps on what that would look like in terms of the M1, the M2, and the C3 zone. I want to be very careful to point out that the maps are not really a regulatory tool. They are an informative tool, because as uses get established throughout the city, if a daycare gets set up in a month, then that separation requirement applies to that daycare. So the map was provided for illustrative purposes of kind of a generalized sense of where businesses could be set up under those 3 different options. But as soon as the ordinance is adopted, those maps, as they age, they become more out of date in terms of what's out in the community.
However, Jeff, if a cannabis retail location were to site somewhere that would be in conformance with this ordinance if it were to pass, and a daycare decided to locate within 500 feet of that retail space, we do not require that the cannabis retail move because that daycare came in after the siting.
That's
right?
correct,
Just
yeah.
want to make sure that everybody's clear with that. Councilmember Trout Manuel?
Where exactly is 404 South,
Auburn
Way
South.
South? Where is that?
King.
It's just south of Burger
Burger
King
King?
and
Well, right, just south
Either
of that.
around
So
there?
it's in, there's a small strip mall that abuts the overpass or the underpass
across
at,
from Bigfoot
at Auburn
Java.
Way and Highway 18.
Okay.
Councilmember Pelosa?
Jeff, regarding the increase the distance separations, going to the 2640 and the 1320, are those in the Planning Commission minutes?
What's in the Planning Commission minutes is that they selected option 2. So option 2 is exactly what you just described. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
Any other? Councilmember DeCoursey?
Just a clarification, the third retail establishment, have they actually opened for business?
They have not.
Okay. And the location they're in, when I'm reading in the illustrative map here, would be in a, call it the red zone area on Auburn Way North. Is that correct, Jeff? Do you know the location?
So that retail location would be in the C3 zone. I don't recall whether it's shown on this map as being in one of those red areas. I am not sure that that location meets the separation requirements or not.
I'm just curious, and I just looking at where it's located because that's in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it appears it falls within that zone, but I'm not totally sure that's exactly where it is.
Let me go to Councilmember Wagner since he hasn't asked any questions yet. Councilmember Wagner?
Jeff, if the proponents here are located at 404 Auburn Way South, what uses on that list will they interfere with if there's a 1,000-foot limit?
There are really two issues that this business owner, prospective licensee, faces. One is that it's in the downtown urban center zone, so it's outright prohibited. So I would say, I mean, just to be very clear, as the rules appear in this draft ordinance, irrespective of geographic separations, this business could not locate in that location because the zoning prohibits it. So we did not run our analysis. I mean, I can suspect that there's some geographic separation issues for that location, but we didn't run our analysis on zones where it was listed as a prohibited use, only as a conditionally permitted use. But it backs up against a residential neighborhood, and that would be a challenge for them, even if it was allowed in the DUC zone.
Councilmember Holman?
Approximately 9 months ago, this body asked staff to begin producing a zoning determination for marijuana retail. And I've been following it quite anxiously, hoping that we could have gotten it sooner. I'm glad that we finally now have something we can sink our teeth into. We've been needing clear zoning for guidance, and perhaps in the future, additional shops. But we need the guidance that a zoning ordinances will allow, zoning like we have for every other business in town.
Thank you. Councilmember Baggett, did you have any questions?
The only question I would have, Jeff, would be, is there any way that a conditional use permit could be issued for this?
So when you look at the zoning tables in the zoning code, it very clearly lists out the types of uses within each zone that are permitted, prohibited, administratively allowed, and conditionally permitted. The Planning Commission, well, I should say the staff recommendation, followed by the Planning Commission's recommendation, this is an area where they were consistent, does not list, does not identify marijuana-related businesses, retail marijuana, as a conditionally allowed use in that zoning designation.
Deputy Mayor Wells?
Oh, thank you. Have the owners of this, have they done any renovation of the facility is my first question. And my second question is, have we zoned and made the requirements so tight that there aren't other available locations if they've done no remodeling in the 3 areas that we've zoned that we would allow it?
Well, okay, so to answer the first question, I don't know about interior renovations.
Okay.
I suspect, but I can't speak to that. This is not a bad thing. There are no permits on file for those renovations if some occurred. But not every business needs to obtain permits, so I don't want that to sound like a negative thing.
Yeah.
We believe, as we created those maps, that there are areas in the city. Now, I don't know about vacancy within existing stores and spaces, but our analysis showed that for option 2, there was area within the city where they could be set up. Option 1, no area in the city. Option 2 and option 3, we believe that there are areas.
Thank you.
Councilmember DeCoursey.
So Jeff, I'm going to refer to option 2 north area map. Again, I know it's for illustrative purposes, page 91 for council. And again, looking at the red zone areas along Auburn Way North and I Street, the community I live in, the River Manufactured Home Community, is right there within that red zone area. Auburn Square Apartments is located adjacent on the I Street, 37th Street area. And then there's a residential subdivision where the red zone going to the south just kind of hits the first part of the subdivision there. So I guess my question is, what is the difference between an area like this that has some residential compared to the Auburn Way South potential location that is also an area that has some residential?
I'm not sure how to.
I
I mean, the Auburn Way South, where they're located, where they would like to locate.
Where they would like to locate, I'm understanding that around Burger King, there's a residential area to the east of that, and I understand it's in our downtown urban corridor. But is there a significance or a difference of residential areas?
Not particularly. I mean, it's right now. I think that I'd mentioned that they may have some geographic separation issues, but right now their primary issue is the zoning. It's listed as prohibited.
Councilmember Wagner.
I want to follow up on my previous question. If the city were to adopt the separation that the state recommends, 1,000 feet, wouldn't this 404 Auburn Way South location still be not allowed because of the residential right there butting up to it?
In the state standards, they don't list a separation from residential areas.
Oh, okay.
So significant departure.
Any other questions? All right, Councilmember Holman.
Less a question, more of a statement. We all were given an opinion from the State Attorney General tonight, and on page 2, right at the top, the opinion is, we therefore conclude that I-502 left in place the normal powers of local governments to regulate within their jurisdiction. 2, local governments have broad authority to regulate within their jurisdictions, and nothing in I-502 limits that authority with respect to licensed marijuana businesses.
we're doing what we were elected to do.
Mr. City Attorney, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
The only thing that I might add to what was already said is that with respect to the question about whether or not the city has the authority to do something that is divergent from what the state standards are, I would submit not only because of the Attorney General's opinion, but there are other cities in this state that have done things like added protected uses. For instance, some cities have added churches, or so I understand that some cities have added churches to the things that are protected by the setbacks. Additionally, cities have increased the buffer with respect to the distance that some other uses might have otherwise been limited to. And obviously, again, there are cities that have prohibited retail outlets or marijuana businesses altogether. And that is consistent with the Attorney General's opinion, which actually gives an opinion which is recognizing the difference between the law and the preemption that would otherwise come to play or not come to play. And so I hope that helps a little bit. That's the reason that I actually gave the copy of the opinion. Other copies if citizens or anybody in attendance would want them, but that's the reason that I put that on your desk, or had that put on your desk.
Any other questions? Councilmember DeCoursey.
I've really had a self-contemplation effort in this process overall. And once I started looking at the illustrative maps, it brought some other concerns to me as well. I'm definitely all for us creating our zoning ordinances. We should have that. We need that. But I have to tell you that in the area that I live in, and let me preface this by saying that I'm not a total proponent of 502, but 502 is what it is, and it's past what it is, and we have two current establishments that are doing apparently extraordinarily well in business, and I'm not sure that the third or fourth one is going to increase market share. I think it's going to just distribute market share amongst the four. But when I look at the zoning map that affects my area, and I know the people that live in my community and what their opinions will be, it concerns me. So my decision is I'm not going to support this ordinance.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Hearing no other comments or questions, all those in favor of ordinance number 6642, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no.
No.
Okay. Danny, do you need us to do a hand count, or do you have? Councilmember DeCoursey and Baggett voted no. The remaining 5 council members voted yes. All right, therefore, ordinance number 6642 passes. Moving on, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Ordinance number 6656, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, amending ordinance number 6621, the 2017-2018 biennial budget ordinance, as amended by ordinance 6646, authorizing the amendment to the City of Auburn 2017-2018 budget as set forth in Schedule A and Schedule B.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Deputy Mayor Wells.
I move for the approval of ordinance 6656.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Baggett.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Wells.
This will allow us to make some amendments to our budget, and we discussed them as set forth in Schedule A and B at our last study session.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of ordinance number 6656, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Passes.
Resolution number 5295, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Auburn and the City of Pacific for decant facility usage.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Councilmember Holman.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 5295.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember DeCoursey.
I'll second the motion, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Holman.
Again, this was discussed very plainly at last Monday's study session. Simply the contract for letting the water drain off of street sweepings from the city of Pacific.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of resolution number 5295, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Passes.
Resolution number 5303, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Auburn, Washington, approving the interlocal cooperation agreement between the Washington State Patrol, Pierce County Sheriff's Office, King County Prosecutor's Office, and the municipalities of Auburn, Bonnie Lake, Federal Way, Lakewood, Tacoma, and Tukwila for the creation of the Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Deputy Mayor Wells.
I move for the approval of Resolution 5303.
Thank you. Councilmember Holman.
Second.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Wells.
I had an opportunity to meet with Bill today, and he explained to me thoroughly, and this is another opportunity for us to bring the strengths of numerous police departments and other organizations together to help fight theft, auto theft, which we've been taking some action with a previous ordinance, and so it's nice to see us getting on top of this. And as I understand it, this might be centralized in Auburn, which will be a great help.
Right. Any questions? Councilmember Pelosa.
Dan, this agreement probably wasn't developed by us, correct?
No, it was a team effort, but
they've omitted Exhibit A on the agreement. So.
I will defer to the Assistant Chief.
I'm trying to figure out what Exhibit A might actually be.
Well, it's the interlocal cooperative agreement.
Are we talking about the word Exhibit A?
Exhibit A should be on the agreement document.
So you're just saying that the verbiage Exhibit A is missing from the top of the interlocal cooperative agreement.
Right, correct. It's not. Looks like it could be an error. It's not labeled correctly.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Just so that we know, we'll make sure that is attached or included on the copy that's attached to the resolution.
Thank you. Councilmember Wagner.
Well, I support this cooperation, but on page 130 of 140, let me read a portion of the statement of the problem. At the end of the first paragraph, it says, appropriate, meaningful, and proportionate penalties should be imposed on those who steal motor vehicles. Yet when I reach down into the task force objectives, they don't intend to undertake anything with respect to that part of the problem. I would wish that since we're all getting together on this, we could also get together on the appropriate penalties, which I think are not appropriate at the moment. Would it be possible to expand the task force objectives to include something like that, Bill?
Let me jump in on that one because it's actually a legal question. The standard penalties are actually set by law, and you could encourage it, but the decision on each case would be a court decision if somebody were sentenced. So if we were to seek minimum penalties that do exist in some places, it would be legislative, and it might be something that would come to each individual jurisdiction or asking the state to take action to impose that.
Councilmember Wagner.
Well, it's the state taking action that I'm talking about, and it seems like this conglomeration of people who are all experts in the problem should be addressing more parts of the problem. And one of the key parts here is meaningful and proportionate penalties. So I realize that it would take an approach to the legislature to do that, but I wish all these experts that are going to work together and have the same problem would also work on advocating in the legislature for appropriate penalties. So that's why I was asking, that's really the question I had to the Assistant Chief, is this task force even likely an effective advocate for that part of the problem?
Well, first of all, again, I'll reiterate what the city attorney said, and we do have to follow the statute, right? But regardless of the statute, if you'll notice, the task force is equipped with a prosecutor. And that prosecutor will have nothing but the cases that are generated from these 14 detectives. And so That will be the first part of pushing forward the importance of keeping people in jail. The prosecutor is the one who makes the recommendations on how long they stay, and a prosecutor would also make recommendations on the penalty phase, and it would be ultimately up to the judge to decide what that penalty would be, but from that point we could. Now, you'll notice that the grant money comes from the WATBA, the Washington Auto Theft Group, and they're the ones that manage the dollars from the state. And they do work in Olympia sometimes quite close with legislators down there, and they're quite aware in Olympia of the issues we're having with auto theft regionally.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of Resolution 5303, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Passes. All right. We will move on to mayor and council member reports. At this time, the mayor and city council may report on their significant city-related activities since the last regular council meeting. We'll begin tonight with Deputy Mayor Wells.
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, I want to start off with a commercial. Tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we are going to, thanks to the city and our great Parks Department, have a wonderful event out there at Let's Go Park. Starts at 11 and is over at 4. And Daryl, are we still doing the bracelets that allow the kids? Yeah, so it's all set up for kids and families. Hopefully it won't be too hot, but still warm. And we should have a great event like we've had a number of times. And I believe at noon, the mayor will have some opening remarks for us. And so it should be something that everyone needs to attend. What else I've done this week is I had an opportunity to meet with a representative from Multicare that's attempting to work to establish the Alan Moore Regional Hospital for Behavioral Health that's going to be housed in Tacoma. And what I did when I met with her is I asked her, and I've asked before, but I think we can get it this time, a listing of what the other hospitals and are going to be sharing in this request. Apparently the legislature has come up with $5 million, and I believe Pierce County has now stepped it up to, or maybe it was Pierce, Tacoma up to $1.5 million, but we're going to get this in writing soon, and that will serve as a good starting point for our debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. From the 19th to the 23rd of last month, I attended, along with Council members Trout Manuel, Baggett, and Holman, the annual Association of Washington Cities conference in Vancouver, Washington. And we had a full week, a robust week, and as usual, a lot of great sessions that gave us a lot of opportunity to look at some issues within all the cities and some opportunities to look at things within our own city. At that meeting, I am a member, along with Councilmember Pelosa, of AWC's Federal Legislative Priorities Committee, and Councilmember Pelosa met by phone. I was sitting in the chair listening to him on the telephone. We went through a number of different items related to the priorities on the federal level, and Councilmember Pelosa reported on this in his council report. But just to kind of give it a little bit more information, the AWC 2016-2017 federal legislative priorities include closing the online sales tax loophole. So looking at the evenness of sales tax throughout the nation and looking at the sales tax collected at the point of destination, which would mean that we in Washington State would collect sales tax on internet sales. This is not a new tax. It just becomes a fair tax because sales tax is sales tax. So this just gives that opportunity to provide that revenue source to the state and to local jurisdictions. The other item was to the protection of municipal bonds. This is to resist efforts to limit or eliminate the federal tax exemption on municipal bonds, which would help increase local financing costs and decrease infrastructure investments. The third item is very crucial, very important, and that's to maintain the Community Development Block Grant Program, the CDBG, and to restore the funding at its prior levels of $4.5 billion, where it has not been in that level for many, many, many years. So AWC and others are pushing really hard for the restoration and getting it back to where it should be, since it's been reduced. CDBG has been reduced to $3 billion annually. It's quite a loss for cities. The fourth item was the investment in infrastructure, and the key item there was to improve rail safety transportation, including, which we heard, I think, almost 2 years ago now, from BNSF, was a more robust tanker design for volatile cargo, and also to reduce rail speeds throughout cities and towns. Then lastly is to support safe communities, and this is to support continued necessary federal funding for housing assistance and homeless programs, provide resources to address the behavioral health system and national opioid addiction crisis, and to support states' rights to legalize and regulate, as we already have in Washington State, the marijuana industry. So that's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Wagner.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilmember Holman.
Well, as Councilmember DeCoursey spoke, several of us attended AWC's conference in Vancouver. And so when we go out for training, it's kind of like ongoing job development training for us. To give you an idea of some of the classes that I took, that some of my colleagues did, were chaos to communication, how to navigate the world of news, both real and fake, building relationships with tribal neighbors, times are uncivil and residents don't want to engage, how do we fix it, innovative community engagement techniques, safety in public facilities, and most importantly, AWC's annual business meeting, where we elected Claude DeCoursey as a state board member of AWC. So not letting any of that new training that I had go to waste, I was invited to speak on Sunday, 6/25, at the White River Buddhist Temple on community engagement and local government relations. Put it to good use and explained how they could get involved and what sorts of functions they could come to the city government for. And then as a little shout out to the White River Buddhist Temple, they're having their Obon Odori, or Bonadori for short, on Saturday, July 22nd from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's a free event. It's open to the entire public, and it's a celebration of all of our ancestors, and it's a free event. Everyone's welcome. There'll be traditional folk dancing and taiko drumming, and it's their annual fundraiser with food and craft sales and a beer tent on the grounds. Highly recommend attending on Saturday, July 22nd. And then my high point of the week was on Thursday, the 29th. There was a community picnic at Pioneer Elementary. Deputy Mayor Wales attended, Mayor Backus attended, and Pioneer is my old alma mater. I went to 5th and 6th grade there, and that's my old neighborhood. So I actually got to see some of my old neighbors and actually new people to that neighborhood. And then I'll close out with, did a little bit of economic development work on Friday the 30th. Myself and Josh Arndt from our Economic Development Division met with representatives of U.S. Aviation. This is a flight training school out of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. They're in Denton and one other city just to the north of Dallas. And it's a large pilot training school. They partner with local community colleges and provide flight training. They have current contracts with the government of China to train pilots. They're looking for a West Coast location. And Auburn is certainly in the hunt for this. At full build-out, they would train between 200 and 300 pilots a year and base approximately 65 training aircraft at Auburn and potentially hire up to 100 employees. So that's my report.
I think that was 100 pilots in addition to ground employment.
Yeah, just 100 employee would be instructors and fuelers and mechanics. A pretty good job chunk.
Councilmember Baggett.
Well, basically, most of the words about our AWC conference were already spoken, but just want to let everybody know that the president was elected to that board, and that was Pat Johnson from the mayor of Buckley. And of course, our very own Claude DeCourcy, who we all had votes for, and he rallied. So congratulations, Claude. We did, as council member Holman stated earlier, we did go through a lot of training. We attended a lot of 1 hour, hour and a half conferences there that were made available to us, affecting just about every facet of the issues that we deal with every day here within the city. So it was very educational, and I came away a lot smarter, and I really enjoyed the city of Vancouver. It was a good break from the regular routines that we go through here, so I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I as well attended the conference, and it was a lot of fun. It's always nice to get together with all the other cities and all the city council members and mayors and networking. I ended up doing the tour of their Main Street, and it was really really interesting on how they use their fundings for their streets and their buildings. And they took a lot of the old buildings, and they did a lot of town hall meetings, and they asked people, what is it that you would like to see in your downtown? A lot of them said that they would like to see more coffee shops with beer. And so they did have a lot of new businesses with networking, like what we just did with one of our businesses, where people that want to open up their businesses and use their computer, they go there, they have their coffee, they have their beer. So it was really nice to see how many breweries they had along Main Street, and new businesses, and also another block of Main Street is under development right now, and they made a deal with the owners that they would be able to qualify for some of the fundings, but they had to limit the businesses that came into, that they couldn't have any tattoo bars, they couldn't have any, they were really wanting just family businesses to come in there, not, out of the way, like massage parlors and stuff like that. They wanted shops, they wanted just clean businesses to come in, and a lot of the owners ended up taking advantage of this. So that taco, what was the one that we were, that Mexican store?
Was it Italian? Cornelio Italian.
Was it? Okay. But they...
Italian or taco?
Conejo. Taco Conejo is what it was. And they said that there was a lot of other businesses that wanted to come in and start food businesses. So I really enjoyed the walk. It was probably a 4-city block area, and they're not small blocks, but they were big, and it was really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pelosa.
Thank you. I did not attend the Association of Washington Cities conference because I attended the National League of Cities conference in Cleveland, Ohio, because it was the same time. I mean, I really wanted to go and see Claude get elected, and a couple of things on the National League of Cities. There hasn't been a dues increase for a long, long time. So one was approved by the board of directors. It's going to be a CPI, price index, and with a cap of 3%. And it'll begin October 1, 2018. The other thing is I attended a few meetings dealing with economic development, public safety and infrastructure, and energy, environment, and natural resources. Also, we were really recommended to challenge the federal government's proposed federal cuts, particularly the community development block grants. The city of Auburn, we get at least $450,000 a year, and then coupled with our own federal funding, we boost that up to about $1 million. So that is really important, and I brought back some data for the mayor and staff to look at to challenge these federal cuts. The National League of Cities put together a well thought out brochure on the type of documents that we can submit to the federal, through our representatives, congresspeople, senators, and really show them how we use this money in the city of Auburn. They need to see the show and tell, because at least 66% of our federal representation has never been on the local level, has not been in the local government level. So we have to educate them. The local have to educate them. Association of Washington Cities has to educate them. National League of Cities has to educate them. And that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Also, I attended I did, and I brought some of that data out from the Association of Washington Cities, that I was on the other end on the hook. I attended the Metropolitan Water Pollution Abatement Advisory Committee recently, and the West Point treatment plant in Seattle Magnolia area, and Magnolia, if you all don't know, is in the northwest corner of lower Seattle, across from Ballard area. The catastrophic flooding event that the West Point treatment plant received from the high water, from the rain, it just created millions and millions of dollars of ruined equipment, electrical motors, control panels, and even the staff rest area was ruined. And anyway, the good news is all of the King County insurance will cover everything. Will cover everything. So rest assured, taxpayers, we won't get hit up to help pay for all the damages. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. So a few things. Up in the Lakeland area, they have a quarterly publication, and there is an article in there this time about some development that's going to be going on in the Lakeland Town Center area to include a new mod pizza. So I know some of you have talked before about having a mod pizza in our city, and the first one is now coming. It will be up in Lakeland, along with another taco time. There will be, for those Lakeland residents, there will now be a gas station up on the hill. They will be happy about that as well. And then in that publication, we also had an insert that gives City of Auburn by the numbers. So commissioned officers in 2016, 111. We're moving up to 117 this year, or 118. 4,716 persons arrested. 653 code compliance cases reported, 50,000 customer interactions, 19,221 lunches served at the Senior Activity Center, 11,340 miles of streets swept, and 18,283 repair tasks completed. So if anybody's ever wondering what the City of Auburn employees are doing, they are out taking care of our city on a daily basis. That's some impressive numbers. So I just wanted to share those before moving on to a few of the activities in the past couple of weeks. So as Councilmember Holman mentioned, we have begun the community picnics for this summer. We have held 2 so far, one down at Game Farm Park, and then the other one last week that Councilmember Holman and Deputy Mayor Wales attended at Pioneer Elementary School. The next one is coming up in, I believe, 2 weeks. I'll have to take a look, but it's in 2 weeks, I believe, July 18th. Thank you. We have an interfaith roundtable meeting at the Auburn Library where we talked about the READY program and the heroin and opioid crisis and what we are doing to provide some information in that first aid class. And so some of the churches will be looking at holding one of those READY courses for their members, which I think will be an excellent opportunity for the church members to have an understanding of what to do in case they encounter someone with a behavioral health issue until a first responder can arrive. And then on June 22nd, Thursday night, we did hold the opioid town hall meeting, the heroin and opioid town hall. We held it at the Auburn Avenue Theater. It was standing room only. There were roughly 300 people who attended that meeting that night. We had police and fire. We had Dr. Anderson from the emergency room. We had Brad Finegood, who is with King County Public Health. And we had a recovering addict or someone recovering from substance abuse. And the stories were compelling. The information that was shared was very informative. We did have the chance to make it very clear because there apparently, for some reason, had been some uncertainty. There is in no way, shape, or form going to be a safe injection site cited in the city of Auburn. And last week, the King County Council took a vote to ensure that that would be the case because they are now saying that there will not be a safe injection site located in any city in King County that does not want one. So yes, so that is excellent news. We have said from day one we are not interested here. Commander Stalker was a member of that task force when it was created, and both Auburn and Renton voted no on that recommendation for even having safe injection sites. So hopefully that puts any clarity around the topic of whether we will have a safe injection site in Auburn. The answer is no. And Auburn Kids Day was on Friday the 23rd, always a great event. It's the first day that the kids are out of school for the summer. Lescove was packed. It was a very warm day, so lots of fun rides, lots of great food. We handed out the awards to students from the elementary and middle schools and also our private schools in the area. Always fun to see the great kids and how they have accomplished so much at such a young age. The Lions Club installation, Councilmember Trout Manuel, I know you were out of town, but the Lions Club installation was a very nice event. Congratulations to Candy Smith for her second time of being a King Lion. She was the first woman back in the 90s to be a King Lion for the Auburn Noon Lions. On the 28th, we swore in our newest officer, Officer Acito, and he was the president of his graduating class at the academy. So we are expecting great things out of him. He is working with a field training officer now, and probation is 1 year probation, but their time with an FTO is 3 months. So we look forward to him being out on working for the city on his own very soon. We also, that evening, had a meeting with the families from Gilda Ray Elementary, who we have been working with through our Healthy Auburn Blue Ribbon panel, an appreciation ceremony, thanking them for their hard work and their willingness to partner with the city on issues such as gang violence and bullying and immunizations and other things that are of importance. And we are also working with Green River College. The Blue Ribbon panel has secured free English classes for up to 30 of the parents at Gildo Ray. And so those classes will be starting very soon. We're excited for that and for the ongoing partnership that we have. The Scamp Brewing opening was on Friday, June 30th, and so along with Go Brewing that had a soft opening on Thursday the 29th, we will have some of those types of places that Councilmember Trout-Manuel was talking about on the tour of the city in Vancouver. So a couple more items that I just want to make note of. On last Tuesday, June 27th, we lost a good friend to the city of Auburn, and that is David A. Clark, who was an architect, and he specialized in municipal buildings. And in fact, some of the locations, I don't think I have them all with me, but his most recent work for the city of Auburn was the remodel of this council chambers. He also was the architect for the Auburn Golf Course Clubhouse, and he has also designed a number of city halls within the region. And I'll tell you, you wanted no one other than Dave to be working on the project for you, because he kept all of the subcontractors in line and kept everyone on time. He was a great man. He will be dearly missed. He was a good friend to the city, and for any of you that knew him, always a smile on his face and a kind word for everyone. And so our hearts, our thoughts, and our prayers go out to his wife Susan and their son Alex as they deal with what this new normal will look like with the loss of Dave. But since life does go on, I also want to say congratulations to Debbie and Lynn Christian. They have a brand new grandbaby as of early this afternoon. Griffin John Hartman was 8.5 pounds, 20 inches long, and so life does go on. There is that renewal, and we are very excited for the family. And I also want to remind everyone that as we celebrate the independence of our country, it does not mean that you have to be foolish and go out and do something to where you are going to harm yourself or your neighbors or scare away animals or scare those who may have post-traumatic stress disorder. I ask that you please be mindful of your neighbors, of their safety, of your safety. Have a safe 4th of July. Come join us at the festival at Les Gove tomorrow from 11 to 4. And hopefully everybody is in one piece and in good spirits on July 5th. And with that, Mr. City Attorney, do we have any need for an executive or closed session?
No, we do not, Your Honor.
We are adjourned.
Kate became our favorite guy.